I have spent my career involved in the Immigration and Homeland Security arena, including the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, and the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on the Judiciary. And as a former counsel on this subcommittee, I'm honored that this is where I am testifying at a congressional hearing for the first time. The United States has a long, proud humanitarian tradition of admitting refugees into this country. The U.S. Refugee Program supports U.S. interests by rescuing some of the world's most vulnerable people, asserting American leadership, and strengthening U.S. public diplomacy. I will discuss 3 areas of improvement needed for the Refugee Admissions Program. The first area has to do with refugee vetting. There's no way to design a foolproof vetting system, but a successful refugee program should be honest about security risks and make sure to mitigate them. Periodic reassessments are necessary to identify and combat fraud patterns, maximize information sharing among agencies dispersed across departments, and leverage newer technology. An effective tool to achieve this is developing a person-centric system. The status quo of the relevant databases involved in this program are characterized by scattered information systems among agencies gathering limited purpose data that is difficult to coordinate across agencies. The U.S. immigration agencies and intelligence community should be employing a person-centric system which would link encounters based on biometrics and provide a person's complete travel to and from the U.S. and immigration history to allow an adjudicator to determine eligibility for any immigration benefit. And as we think about vetting, we should also consider upstream benefits. Resettlement is not the solution to mass displacement. By assisting countries on the front lines, we can stretch resources furthest to help the largest number of refugees. The second area of improvement is ensuring refugee program integrity. An aspect of the U.S. refugee program that needs attention is continuous vetting of recently resettled refugees to determine whether a refugee returns to the same country from which they asserted they were being persecuted. If a refugee voluntarily returns to his home country, he may lose his refugee status. And to maintain the integrity of the program, the U.S. should ensure that those who apply for and those who have received refugee status have a bona fide claim of fear. Another aspect of program integrity is that U.S. immigration law states that a refugee should apply for adjustment of status, or green card, 1 year after admission as a refugee. However, there's currently no follow-up by the U.S. government to ensure a refugee submits the adjustment application. As a refugee's 1-year anniversary approaches, DHS should contact the refugee with a reminder to apply for adjustment of status. This will not only assist the refugee's integration into U.S. society with a more permanent immigration status, it importantly also provides the U.S. government another look at the refugee regarding progress towards that permanent status. This brings me to my third area of improvement, and that's refugee assimilation. Unfortunately, subsequent radicalization of refugees in the same or later generations has occurred in the U.S. and other resettlement countries. And this new phenomenon warrants having the U.S. government assess current assimilation efforts and success. Assimilation is key to reducing this risk. Learning English, gaining an education helps immigrants build an American identity and the knowledge, skill sets, and social capital that increase their sense of belonging in American society. Patriotic assimilation does not require that refugees forget their history. Rather, the goal is that immigrants embrace the principles of the United States and develop loyalty to the U.S. and fellow Americans. We need a comprehensive assimilation plan in which our schools emphasize civics education more, English proficiency occurs more quickly, and greater civil society is more involved in the resettling of refugees. Involvement by individuals, even sponsors from the local community, can facilitate refugees' entry into mainstream society. This helps build civic pride and patriotic attachment to other Americans. Finally, as we think about our refugee program, we should always view it as a segment of our whole immigration picture, and remember that managing borders is central to a nation's sovereignty, which is exercised by every country in this world. Thank you.